Welcome to my full dining guide for MSC Preziosa. Whether you've cruised on this ship before and you're here to refresh your memory, or if you've never cruised on board before but would like to see how things work from a food and dining point of view, then I really hope you'll find this video useful. Throughout this video, I am going to talk to you about what the different meal times look like on board an MSC cruise and show you every single dining venue on board MSC Preziosa. I'm going to show you the venues, I'm going to show you the food to hopefully help you plan for a future cruise so that you know exactly what to expect. If you do enjoy this video and if you find it useful, then it would be amazing if you would support my channel by clicking the thumbs up and the subscribe buttons. Both of these massively help my channel to grow and they help my content to reach more people, so a huge thank you to you. Anyway, let's get started looking at what meal times there are on an MSC cruise. Today, we are going to cover breakfast, we're going to cover brunch, we're going to cover lunch, we're going to cover dinner, and a few extra bits in between. Those extra bits consist of things like afternoon snacks or late night snacks. So you get the picture, there are quite a few different dining options available on board this cruise ship. Moving to our first venue, let's move to look at the buffet. The buffet restaurant on board Preziosa is split into two. Up first, you've got the Inca restaurant, and second, you've got the Maya restaurant. Although these restaurants have totally different names, it might surprise you that they are actually the same venue. One is just all the way at the back of the ship, and one is slightly further forward. Once you enter one of these, when you walk all the way around, you don't even know when you enter the second. I'm not totally sure why it's got a two-named venue set up here. I can only assume it's so that if you are meeting friends and you're trying to explain where you are, it maybe makes the process of that a little bit easier. The buffet is open for breakfast from 6 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock in the morning. It's then open again for lunch from midday until 4 PM, and it's then open for dinner between 6 PM and 9 PM. It is worth noting that there is also an afternoon snack option, and that operates between 4 PM and 5 PM. That does substitute for the typical afternoon tea that you find on a lot of other cruise ships. You can expect to find finger sandwiches, filled rolls, cakes, tea and coffee, so you can basically go up and build your own afternoon tea. If you were looking to have a full service, sit down, formal afternoon tea on board MSC Preziosa, then that option is available, but you would have to be a guest of the MSC Yacht Club, which is anyone in the Yacht Club suites towards the front of the ship. In the buffet, you'll also find a section called Grill Corner. Here, you can get things like burgers, french fries, hot dogs, and that's open between midday and 9 PM. And you've also got the pizzeria, which is where you can get the now famous MSC pizza, starting from midday and finishing at midnight. It is worth mentioning that they tend to stop putting the fresh pizzas out at about 1:45 midnight. So if you have been having a few drinks downstairs, or you've been working up an appetite, walking those decks before bed, if you want a pizza, get in there nice and early and don't walk in at 1 minute to midnight. The buffet that we've just discussed remains the same whether you're looking at a day in port or a day at sea. If you are thinking about spending a day at sea on board MSC Preziosa, then there is one other type of buffet that is worth considering. Let me show you the buffet at La Playa Preziosa, which is the indoor swimming pool on board this cruise ship. You'll find this starting around midday and finishing around 1:30. And out here you can expect to find a range of hot and cold options, but it'll be much, much lighter than what you're being served inside the actual buffet restaurant further back along the ship. This was the first time that I had ever found a poolside buffet on an MSC cruise. I thought it looked absolutely fantastic, and I do think it would be great if this is something that is either rolled out across the fleet or is something that the rest of the fleet is already doing, but I've just never seen it before on any of my cruises. So yes, the poolside buffet, big thumbs up if you want to get in, get a snack without the fuss of the main buffet restaurant with hundreds or thousands of other people on a sea day. We mentioned that the pizza service finishes at midnight in that buffet area. If you are looking for food a little bit later, there is a separate late snacks option, and that runs all the way up until 1:30 in the morning. And by that point, you should be ready to go to bed because you've got either a day in port to enjoy tomorrow, or you've got a day at sea to relax and enjoy. So get yourself to bed so that you're fresh-faced and ready for the morning. Let's leave the buffet areas up on deck 14 behind, and let's now head downstairs on the ship to the midship section of deck number 6. Down here, I'm going to show you the Phoenician Plaza, because this is very different to what we've just looked at up in the buffet. You probably thought that the buffet up there did look quite intensely themed, and that absolutely continues down here, although it's a very different theme. Down here at the plaza and at this cafe, I felt as though it was quite Gladiator / Lion King-esque. I really liked it, and the longer I spent on board, I got to grips with the fact that that's just how this ship operates. Every single venue is so different to all of the others on board. I didn't expect it, but I really, really loved it. You can find the cafe down in this plaza open from 6 o'clock in the morning all the way through until midnight. You're not going to be able to order full meals here, but you can order a selection of light bites, sandwiches, rolls, cakes, various bits of finger food throughout the day. And why not accompany that with a speciality coffee? The coffees down here are absolutely beautiful, and they're presented really nicely too. I would really recommend the iced coffee down here. They come in really nice glasses, and what a lovely place to just sit back and relax and watch the crowds filter through on either side. Moving on, let's go down one more deck and let's now look at the main dining rooms on board. Up first, you've got the Golden Lobster down on deck number 5. This venue does operate differently depending on whether we're looking at a day in port or a day where the ship's at sea. Let's start by talking about what happens when the ship is in port. You'll find the Golden Lobster open on port days for breakfast between 7 AM and 9 AM, and you'll then find it open again for lunch between 12:30 and 1:30 PM. If you look at a day at sea, you'll find that the Golden Lobster opens at 8:30 in the morning and it closes at 1:30. The menu on a sea day is a much wider brunch menu rather than it being a separate breakfast and lunch menu. Personally, I did really like it, and I like the fact that MSC are offering this lazy start to the day sea day brunch. I really, really like that. Moving on to look at dinner, the Golden Lobster operates at the same times regardless of whether the ship is in port that day or whether the ship is out at sea. You'll find that the Golden Lobster operates with 2 dinner sittings. First sitting will go in at 6 PM and the second sitting will go in at 8:30 PM. The entrance to the restaurant is then closed 15 minutes after each of those times for a number of reasons, but largely just due to the fact that it keeps everyone on the same pattern with their meals, rather than people constantly arriving at staggered times all the way through the dinner service and then making it incredibly difficult for the crew to efficiently and effectively serve everyone in the room. For the first sitting, it's imperative that you're on time, because if you then leave on time, the crew have got enough time to turn the restaurant around for the second sitting, which will often mean hundreds more passengers will be coming in for dinner. Being on time for that second sitting is also really important, because that means that you can get back out to enjoy the rest of the ship, rather than be sitting waiting for a really inefficient dinner service to progress through. The other reason it's important to be on time for that second seating is the crew on these ships work so hard. What they don't need is the 8:30 dinner service actually beginning at 9:15 because people were so late to come for dinner. The sooner you get in and the sooner you enjoy your dinner and then move on afterwards, the sooner they can either get on to other duties. Some may go and help at the bars on board, or the sooner they can call it a night and then head downstairs to get ready for the morning. So yes, just make sure that whether you're at the 6 p.m. seating or the 8:30 p.m. seating, you arrive on time. You will find what seating you have been booked onto on your cruise card. You'll find it printed just underneath the barcode. You'll have the restaurant, the deck number, and also what time. And if you've got any problems with that, then just head down to the restaurant on day one or as early in the cruise as you can and try and speak to the maitre d' and find out if it's possible to change. The other main dining room on board is called L'Arabesque, and you'll find that all the way at the back of the ship on deck number 6. In here, you have the very similar setup to the Golden Lobster, where you have 2 dinner sittings that operate at a slightly different time schedule to what we mentioned in that other venue. The first seating will go in here at 5:45, so 5:45, and the second seating will go in at 8:15 or 8:15. The same rules apply for that dining room closing 15 minutes after your designated dining time. So again, just make sure that you're on time. This venue I really like. It's all the way at the back of the ship and it's got huge floor-to-ceiling windows all along the back of the room. I personally think you get a much better view of the ocean from back here, but it is maybe worth mentioning that you're all the way at the back of the ship, therefore you will feel motion a little bit more back here than what you would at the Golden Lobster, which is right in the middle of the ship. When you book an MSC cruise, you've got the option to choose from a number of different experiences: Bella, Fantastica, Aurea, or MSC Yacht Club. I won't go into the detail of each of these experiences now, but if you do book the Aurea package, then you'll receive the ability to go for what they call My Choice Dining. My Choice Dining essentially allows you to turn up to the dining room whenever you're ready for dinner, and they'll find you a table. On the flip of that, all of the other guests, as we've just mentioned, if they're dining in a main dining room, they'll be turning up at the same time to sit at the same table, and they'll be on that schedule for the entire week. My Choice Dining, which is exclusive to Aurea guests, operates in the Golden Lobster restaurant between 6 p.m. and 9:15. So between those hours, any time that you'd like to turn up to the dining room for your dinner, you're more than welcome, and the crew there will then find you a table. If you'd like to make a reservation for My Choice Dining, then you can do that once you're on board the ship. You can either do that by giving them a call using your in-cabin phone, which is just over by the bed, or you can head down and speak to the maitre d' down at the Golden Lobster restaurant during the reservation hours. The next dining option to tell you about is the onboard pizzeria. You'll find the Locanda Pizzeria located on deck 7 midship, and in here you can order, yep, that's right, pizza. MSC is now famous for the quality of pizza that they deliver. I love the pizza that you get included up at the buffet, so I, during my cruise, didn't actually try the food in here. What I would say is it was lovely to come down here, have a drink in the middle of the afternoon and watch the pizzas coming out of the real pizza oven, which is on display for everybody in that pizzeria. It's a really, really lovely space with loads of natural daylight flooding in. So if you are looking to come in here for pizza, you'll find the Locanda Pizzeria open from 6 p.m. and it will close at midnight. Next, the Sports and Bowling Diner. This venue I thought was really, really cool. If you imagine an American diner combined with a bowling alley, you'll probably end up somewhere along the lines of this place. In here, you can order what I would describe as bar snacks and bar food, and you can also play bowling. You'll find that if the ship has got good enough satellite signal, you'll also be able to watch your favourite game in here. So if there is something that you would like to watch while you are cruising, then pop in here and speak to the crew who are working in the bar and just check if they can screen it on the ship. There are TVs all the way across the booths, so wherever you are, you should stand a pretty good chance of having a decent view. If you do want to do some bowling in here, then you'll find the lanes open 24 hours a day. All you have to do is scan your cruise card against the device at the top of the lane, and that will then activate it for a whole game. Let's move on to look at speciality restaurants. Up first, we're moving into one of my favourites, which is Butcher's Cut, the onboard steakhouse. You'll find Butcher's Cut on Deck 7 midship, and the hours in here do operate slightly differently between port days and sea days. On a port day, you'll find Butcher's Cut open for lunch between 12 and 2, and dinner will then be served between 6 PM and 10:30 PM. On a day at sea, you'll find a brunch menu between 10 AM and 2 PM. You'll then find dinner between 6 PM and 10:30 PM. So the dinner service remains the same, but what changes in Butcher's Cut on a sea day is that the hours for lunch get extended slightly, and it then becomes a brunch. I had dinner in this restaurant, and I cannot sing its praises highly enough. It is absolutely wonderful. So if you're looking for a good steakhouse on board MSC Preziosa, look no further, because you've found it. Up next, the Galaxy Lounge Restaurant. This one is so different from a speciality dining point of view. You'll find the Galaxy up on Deck 16 in the midship area, and this venue has got some of the best views on the entire ship. When you're sitting there having your lunch or having your dinner, you can be looking down almost the entire length of that top pool deck. It is absolutely stunning up there. I can only imagine what it would be like if you were at sea in the Caribbean looking out at the blue water. It must be absolutely beautiful. In terms of times, it doesn't matter whether you're experiencing a port day or a sea day. You'll find lunch up here between 12 and 2, and you'll find dinner between 6 and 10:30. This restaurant is sushi and Asian themed, so if you like that kind of food, then this will probably be right up your street. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of sushi, so I can't show you any of the food that I had in here, nor do I know anyone on board who ate here. But if you do like Asian food and sushi, this might be the one for you. That's a run through of every dining venue on board MSC Preziosa. If all of this still isn't enough for you and you find yourself hungry outside of those hours, or if you don't hear anything there that you fancy and you'd like to just chill out here in your cabin, then you absolutely can do that. There's a 24-hour room service menu that you can take full advantage of. You'll find the menu available once you get on the ship, and all you have to do to place your order is give them a call using the phone, which is over by your bed, which is that way, not that way. So you can just call room service using the phone by your bed. So I hope you found this video useful. That has been a full run through of everything on the topic of dining for here on board MSC Preziosa. If you have found this video useful, then please do click both the thumbs up and the subscribe buttons to support my channel and help me grow. If you'd like to join me in more videos, then come over to my channel. I have got so much more cruise related content to share with you. And why not join me now in this one? Over here, I share with you some of my top tips to hopefully make your cruise on MSC Preziosa one of your best yet. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you over there.